Dear students, welcome to my channel Chemistry with Sare Hassan. Today we will be talking about salts, and under salts we will be starting with water salts. Then we will be talking about the solubility of salts, and then after that we will start preparation of salts. Let's start with it. What is a salt first? You might know before this, salt is a substance formed when the hydrogen of an acid is partly or completely replaced by a metal. What is meant by that? So during the preparation of salt, especially we are talking about today soluble salts, the hydrogen of an acid, for example, you can see we have hydrochloric acid here. Its hydrogen will be replaced with a metal ion from an alkali, that is sodium hydroxide in this case, to produce sodium chloride. In this case, sodium ion have been replaced completely. We will see examples after this in which hydrogen ions are not replaced by a metal ion in one step. It all depends upon the number of hydrogen ions present in an acid. For example, let's take an example for the formation of sodium chloride. For preparing sodium chloride solution, the soluble salt, the word aqueous shows it is soluble. Whenever the word aqueous is written, that means it is soluble in water. Aqua mean water. So hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide, which is an alkali, can be called as base as well. When react together, they produce sodium chloride and water as a byproduct. Hope you know uh, how this equation is made. During any equation, the positive ion of one substance combined with the negative ion of another substance, especially when the reactants uh, have positive and negative ions on them. Okay. Similarly, when sulfuric acid react with sodium hydroxide, what they produce? They produce sodium sulfate and water. So in these two reactions, you can see the hydrogen ion of an acid, they have been completely replaced, while in next, when sulfuric acid react with sodium hydroxide, in this case, you will see this salt, which is sodium hydrogen sulfate, it has still one hydrogen ion. The hydrogen ions of sulfuric acid, which have two ions in it, they are not completely replaced here. They're partly replaced. Mean this uh, salt, this can be called as acidic salt because it has still one hydrogen ion in it. You know, acidity is due to hydrogen ion. When in an acid salt, hydrogen ion is present, we will call it as acidic salt. Now, what will happen? This sodium hydrogen sulfate will further react with another compound of sodium hydroxide, or more substance of sodium hydroxide, or formula units of sodium hydroxide, you may say anything. Okay, they will produce sodium sulfate, which is neutral salt. Now, it has no replaceable hydrogen ion in it. And in every step, you can see water is being formed as a byproduct. As I already told you, whenever the aqueous word is written, that means the salt is soluble. So in this topic, basic our focus is soluble and insoluble salts. That is what we are doing in these topics. Okay, similarly, you can see this one. Phosphoric acid when react with sodium hydroxide, first one hydrogen ion is replaced from phosphoric acid. Then in second step, this compound, which is acidic salt, will further react with sodium hydroxide. Then one hydrogen will be replaced again. Still one hydrogen is left. It will further react with sodium hydroxide. You will see no hydrogen ion is left in this salt. That is sodium phosphate. This is the neutral salt now. Hope you understand. If you have any question, you can comment in comment box in my channel. Thank you. Now we are talking about how to prepare soluble and insoluble salt. But before that, we must know what is soluble and what is insoluble salt. When we say soluble salt, if you might have seen at home, if you dissolve sugar in water, that means it is soluble because you will see a uniform composition of that solution. We put sodium chloride, which is a salt, table salt, in water. After some time, it will be dissolved. It will be vanished. I mean, it is soluble. At the same time, if you put calcium carbonate, mean marble piece in water, you will see it will settle down to the bottom of the water. That means it is insoluble. Now, why sodium chloride is soluble while calcium carbonate is insoluble? Now, when sodium chloride is dissolved in water, it is split into ions, not on their own, but water separates sodium ion and chloride ion from sodium chloride. In this diagram, you can see we have sodium ion and chloride ion separate, and they're surrounded by water molecules. First, water will separate sodium ion and chloride ions. If water is unable to separate them, then it will not dissolve. It will go to the bottom as NaCl. It will be known as insoluble salt. As if the ions have been separated, that means water molecules will have strong force of attraction for these ions so that the ions get separated. Now, after ions are separated, they are surrounded by water molecules. Not only when the ions will be separated, they can go anywhere. No, they will be surrounded, held by water molecules. How? As chloride ion contain minus one charge, it will be surrounded by water molecule in such a way the hydrogen atoms of water, which are partially positively charged. Uh, I can just simply make you understand what is meant by partially. This one is a water molecule. This hydrogen is partial positive. This is partial negatively charged. This is partial positively. Now the question is why this positive and negative partial charges are there. So if you have studied in covalent bonding, uh, polar and non-polar, especially in O levels, we don't focus on these things, but you must keep in mind this is very important to understand. When we say something positive and negative, that means in this case the shade pair between hydrogen and oxygen is not equally attracted. It is more attracted toward oxygen atom because it has more protons in its nucleus as compared to hydrogen. As a result, there is a tendency for hydrogen to lose an electron toward oxygen, and oxygen has tendency to attract hydrogen electron toward itself. As a result, the shared pair go in the vicinity of oxygen. That is why hydrogen get partial positive charge and oxygen get partial negative charge. Okay, so now when it has positive negative ends, ionic compound has positive negative ends. So water through its hydrogen will attract sodium ion from sodium chloride. Water will attract chloride ion through its hydrogen, while it will attract sodium ion through its oxygen due being oppositely charged. Hope you understand. Now, if we are talking about insoluble salt, if I dissolve, like say, this is copper 2 carbonate, CuCO3. Why I said 2? It's copper, 2 carbonate. Who is for transition elements? Those metals which are transition belong to are between group 2 and 3, they belong to transition metals. They have variable oxidation state. Basically, at the same time, I want to tell you, it has been asked many times that what this 2 indicates in the bracket, which is written in Roman. This is oxidation state of copper. Because copper may have oxidation state of +1 and +2. Due to this variable oxidation state, they make different colored compounds. We will discuss in a periodic table about colors, why they have different colors. Okay, now you see this CuCu3 will settle down to the bottom of the water because copper ions with Cu +2 and carbonate ion Cu3 -2, they carry charges and they hold each other strongly. So water molecules are unable to separate copper ions and carbonate ion. That is why copper 2 carbonate, it will not be held by the water in it. As a result, it will settle down to the bottom of the water in the apparatus. Similarly, this is another example. You see the sand, water, and olive oil. All the 3 substances, they are totally visible as a separate layers. And these are also insoluble in water. Hope you understand. We will have again a lesson, inshallah, on solubility on that. We will be only focusing how substance get dissolved, how it get insoluble, what are the factors that can affect its solubility, how the solubility can be increased or decreased. We now see, in order to prepare soluble and insoluble salts, we need to know this. Is very important. First, let's start with nitrates. All nitrates are soluble. This is first thing you need to know. All nitrates are soluble because these will be required during preparation of salts, especially insoluble salts. So all nitrates are soluble. First thing, whenever we need a soluble salt, we will take nitrate of any metal, like say silver nitrate, ammonium nitrate, calcium nitrate, although ammonium is not a metal. This is an exception. Sulfates. All sulfates are soluble except calcium, barium, and lead 2 sulfate. Also strontium 2 sulfate as well, strontium sulfate as well. But focus on these 3 salts which are insoluble. In addition to these, all are soluble. We should focus on insoluble. That is why uh, we can, we are assured that others are sulfates are all soluble in water. Okay, carbonates. In case of carbonates, group 1 carbonates, especially sodium carbonate, potassium carbonate, and also ammonium carbonate, these are soluble in water, while all other carbonates are insoluble in water. Basically, carbonates are insoluble. There are only very few, carbonates which are soluble, all others are insoluble. Calcium carbonate, barium carbonate, CuCO3, copper 2 carbonate, all are insoluble. When we're talking about chlorides, bromides, iodides of Ag+1 in AgCl in case of Ag chloride, AgBr in case of bromide, AgI in case of iodides. Similarly, Pb +1, Hg +2. Whenever these ions are present with these negative ions, then they make insoluble salts. While all other We have salts which are, soluble. Those are NaCl, calcium chloride, aluminum chloride. Okay. So when we combine positive ion with these negative ions, you will see they will become insoluble. AgCl, AgBr, even AgI, PbCl2, PbI2, HgCl2. But when they are basically hot, then they are soluble. Otherwise, they are in cold state. These are also insoluble. You understand? If you have any question, again, you can share in my comment box, and inshallah, I will try to answer your questions that you are fully satisfied. So, boys, all the lesson which is going on, it is according to the CAI syllabus, which also helps for IGCSE because there is a minor difference between extended IGCSE and even AQA cover all these contents mostly. You understand? Okay, now come to the next. What are different methods for the preparation of soluble salts? Okay. Uh, Soluble salts can be prepared by mainly four methods. The first one is when we react metals with acids, when we react metal oxides with acids, when we react metal hydroxides with acids, when we react metal carbonates with acids. All these methods will help us to prepare soluble salts. We will go in detail of these salt preparation, inshallah, in next lesson. Uh, in next lesson, we will be starting with titration method first. Thank you very much. If you got something in my lesson, please try to subscribe my channel Chemistry with Sir Ehsan. And also like it, please, and view as well. Thank you very much. Unless you will not see my lesson till end, you will not be able to fully, clear with the concepts of this. Inshallah, I will be covering all the syllabus one by one according to the syllabus, inshallah. And at the same time, we will be solving the questions relevant to these, topics at the end of the lessons. Whenever we will be having sufficient knowledge, then we will, inshallah, solve questions. Here, I will also give questions uh, as a homework. If you will be free, you can solve them, inshallah. See you in the next lesson. Allah Hafiz.